God, absolutely wheezed myself down then. This is what being 38's like, I think, now. That sort of action. Hello, welcome to another picture video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. Also can't get myself centred. Maybe it's just because I'm not sat centred. We've got another going through my first lines of my books today. So I've decided to do this year by working my way through the different colours of books. So today, in honour of my orange jumper, we're doing orange books. Orange books. So we're going to read the first line of each of the orange books that I have in my possession and battle them against one another, and then the one that wins, the one that has the best first line, will get added to my TBR. So the plan was, I was thinking I'll add it to my TBR for next month, but I didn't get round to reading the red book, which was Belladonna by Ambara Salam, which I quite enjoyed actually, until February. So I just thought, well, I'll add it onto my TBR, and then once I've read the orange book, then I'll do the yellows. So it's a sort of just an opportunity to have a little look at the books that are on my shelves, an opportunity for me to add to my TBR something that maybe I'd forgotten about, and yeah, just a nice chance to read some first lines. I love reading first lines. So I've got the ones that I'd already read. So I'm not doing any rereads, these are to read. So I had three orange books that I'd already read, so they're still up there. So let's work our way through. So The Satsuma Complex by Bob Mortimer, given to me by David's dad. Love Bob Mortimer, find him hilariously funny and also very endearing and cute and calm and fun and nice. Don't know how I'll get on with this, but I've got it out on audiobook before, never read it, and then, yeah, David's dad gave me this in paperback. I thought, let's give it a go. The first line is, we ain't getting much from this, my name is Gary. I don't think my name is Gary is going to win, but there we go. Then we've got Free by Leah Yupp, coming of age at the end of history. I also don't look too much at the blurbs on these, just so we can get a real feeling for the actual thing from the first line. Unless I already know I know this is non-fiction, but I can't really remember anything about it. The first chapter is called Stalin. I never asked myself about the meaning of freedom until the day I hugged Stalin. Well, that's definitely one over My Name is Gary, isn't it? So there we go. Then we've got The Midwife by Tricia Cresswell. This as a proof, came out in 2022, so a while ago. And you know I love Call the Midwife, so let's have a look. 1, a beginning. The woman lay curled in the heather, her skin blue-white against the frost. The woman lay curled in the heather, her skin blue-white against the frost. I think I do like that more than hugging Stalin. So there we go. But so far, every single one that's won has usurped the next one. Next up, we've got Nikki French, Secret Smile. Oh, it's an actual picture of Camden Lock there as well. Nikki French books, very enjoyable. I've got into the whole situation because of my friend and yours, Jen Campbell. I believe Jen actually sent me this one. Maybe she had 2 copies of it. But yeah, I've been meaning to read. I've read all of the, oh my God, what's the name? Free Decline series. And I've dipped into a few of Nikki French's other books. It's a husband and wife crime writing team. I've got a reservation on the new one, which is called Have You Seen Charlotte Salter, I think, at the library. But yeah, this one's been languishing on my shelves. Let's see if the first line's enough to get me going. I've had a dream recently, the same dream over and over again, and each time I think it's real. Doesn't give much away, does it? And let's compare it to the woman lay curled in the heather, her skin blue-white against the frost. I think this is winning. There we go. Sorry, Nikki. Next up is Before You Suffocate Your Own Full Self by Danielle Evans. This is a collection of short stories, I think. Let's have a look. Yes, it's a collection of short stories by Danielle Evans. The first one is called Virgins. This is the first line. Me and Jasmine and Michael were hanging out at Mr. Thompson's pool. Me and Jasmine and Michael were hanging out at Mr. Thompson's pool. Yeah, I think that's better. I'm more interested in what's happening to these three hanging out at Mr. Thompson's pool than I am with what's happening with that near blue girl laying in the snow. There we go. Then I've got another, no, have we had a non-fiction so far? Yes. Another non-fiction. This is Feminism Interrupted by Lola Olufemi, Disrupting Power. We won't read the acknowledgements, we won't read the introduction, we want to go to the first line of the actual thing. Chapter 1, Know Your History. Then there's 2 quotes, so we'll swerve the quotes and we'll go straight to it. Black women's history travels in whispers and memories recalled around the dining table by mothers and grandmothers, and it often dies when those voices leave us. Yeah, I think this is winning. Black women's history travels in whispers and memories recalled around the dining tables by mothers and grandmothers, and it often dies when those voices leave us. Yeah, that's winning. Then I've got Ophelia After All by Raquel Marie. Let's have a little go on this. I think looks like YA, doesn't it? 1. The fabric of, I've read this line out before, I remembered when we did it before. The fabric of my lilac gown brushes my bare legs, sending shivers of delightful anticipation up my arms. The fabric of my lilac gown brushes my bare legs, sending shivers of delightful anticipation up my arms. I like a lilac gown. Do I like shivers of delightful anticipation up my arms? No, I don't. I feel like that feels a bit... So no. We're still with Feminism Interrupted. Then we've got A Girlhood by Caroline Haynes. This was released in January last year. This is I think this is non-fiction. I think this is a memoir about Caroline's daughter. Oh yeah, a letter to my transgender daughter. So it says, first, this is not a tragedy. Oh, that's a good line. Knowing what that's about, this is not a tragedy. Or... Oh, these are both very important first lines. These are both very important. I can't find the bloody first line now of this one. This is not a tragedy. Black women's history travels in whispers and memories recalled around the dining table by mothers and grandmothers, and it often dies when those voices leave us. I've got to say, This is not a tragedy is more of a gripping first line for me. It's a shame because non-fiction books, although this is non-fiction as well, this is a memoir, non-fiction books often shit out a bit when it comes to first line challenges because they're just not as gripping, but that is a gripping first line, so it's been usurped. This is A Girlhood is in the lead at the moment. I've got 2 books by Maggie O'Farrell here. The first one is Instructions for a Heatwave. I think I've read Instructions for a Heatwave. No, maybe I haven't. Maybe often it's because I've got them out from the library and haven't read them. Right, okay. Let's have a look. Highbury, London, The Heat. The Heat. That's very good, but I'm still going with This is not a tragedy. And then next up we've got another Maggie O'Farrell, After You'd Gone. Yes, I have read this one. Right, okay, so I can't even read that one. This one's about a girl boarding a train in Edinburgh, and then when she gets to London, steps out in front of traffic in London. So I have read that. Next one. Another non-fiction. It's Factfulness by Hans Rosling. 10 Reasons We're Wrong About the World and Why Things Are Better Than You Think. Interesting. We're skipping the, just because we have done with the other ones, we're skipping the acknowledgements, we're skipping the author's notes, we're skipping the introduction. We're going hardcore in with chapter 1, The Gap Instinct. Where it all started. It was October 1995, and little did I know that after my class that evening, I was going to start my lifelong fight against global misconceptions. No, this is not a tragedy, still winning. Oh, next up is The Railway Children by E. Nesbitt. I remember when I did this last year, I had this of the Little Princess, and I ended up reading it. Here's a little princess now. So let's see, is this children's classic got a great first line? They were not railway children to begin with. It's fine. I'm still into This Is Not a Tragedy. Next up, I've got Vehicle by Jen Callier. This is published by a smaller press, I think. I can't even tell you the name of the press. I've got 3 of them. Verse, I think they're called. There's nothing in here at all about it. Okay. Oh, this is difficult because the first bit is a list of characters, so we're going to swerve that. Then there's something from a ship's log, and then something from a telegram, so we'll skip that, and we'll go for the researchers need to get the art out of there. It felt like a trap. Now, I've got to say, that's interesting, because I'm like, well, what felt like a trap? Was it a trap? So, that is good, but This Is Not a Tragedy, I'm still into that. Right, we're on to the hardback. Oh no, not all hardbacks, but mainly hardbacks. So we got Camilla Shamsi's Best of Friends. And let's have a little look at this. Karachi in 1988 summer. First day back at school. No, it's okay, but it's not doing anything. Then I've got Patrick O'Tuima's Poetry Unbound, 50 Poems to Open Your World. You will see. Does this count? Because I started this but didn't finish it. I guess, no, I haven't read it, so we'll go to the beginning. So I listened to the Poetry Unbound podcast, which I really, really love, and it's Padraig reading out poems, assessing them, or chatting to you about what he thinks the poem's about, and then reading it again. It's a short 15-minute podcast. I highly recommend it. I really love it. But yeah, this is I really enjoy his podcast. So let's have a look. So the first one, so I've skipped the introduction and I've gone to the first poem, which is called Wonder Woman by Ada Limon. But he starts with a little blurb about it, then the poem, then goes into more detail. So we'll start with a little blurb. I've had a Wonder Woman belt buckle for the last 10 years. I've had a Wonder Woman belt buckle for the last 10 years. I mean, I think that's really good as well. I've had a Wonder Woman belt buckle for the last 10 years. I mean, maybe. I do still really like This Is Not a Tragedy. Yeah, I mean, what I might do with this is because on my Friday reading vlogs, I read out a poem at the end of the book, at the end of the Friday reading vlog, just to wrap it all up. And I've been reading from the ones which are seasonal ones. I haven't got any here within reach, actually. I've not got the blue one in reach. No, I actually haven't. Yes, I have. A poem for every winter day. So I've got 4 of these, one for each season, and we're on a poem for every spring day at the moment. But could I maybe alternatively squash one out with one of these every... I'd have to work through the book. But yeah, that's something for consideration. Maybe next year when I do the Friday reading vlog, she says, in March, I'll start reading from these. Right, okay. The Female Persuasion by Meg Wolitzer. This has been on my shelves for bloody ages. And there's obviously a reason I don't get rid of it, but let's have a look at the first line. Part 1, The Strong Ones. 1. Greer Kadetsky met Faith Frank in October of 2006 at Ryland College, where Faith had come to deliver the Edmund and Wilhelmina Ryland Memorial Lecture, and though that night the chapel was full of students, some of them boiling over with loudmouth commentary, it seemed astonishing but true that out of everyone there, Greer was the one to interest Faith. I do love a long first line. So that, it gives quite a lot, doesn't it? It sets the scene, October 2006, in a college. Faith has come to deliver a lecture, and Faith has, and it's astonishing that Greer was the one to interest Faith. So yeah, but I'm still really into This Is Not a Tragedy, based on that with the A Girlhood, A Letter to My Transgender Daughter. I wonder if it will be beaten. I wonder. Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man by Emmanuel Acko. I believe there's a podcast that accompanies this as well. We'll skip the introduction, as we have been with all the others. Part 1, You and Me. 1. The Name Game. Black or African American. On 5th of June 2020 in Washington DC, city workers painted 3 bold words down the street leading directly to the White House. Black Lives Matter. I mean, very powerful. I remember it happening. It's hard to pit the Black Lives Matter movement against a transgender girl's life, but out of the 2 first lines, that still wins. Will it be beaten? Right, the next one is Linda Clark. This is another one that's been on my list for ages. It's called The Dark Circle by Linda Grant. This was shortlisted, I think, for the Women's Prize whenever this came out, and it's about the beginnings of the NHS, and that's the reason I don't get rid of it, because I always think, oh, I will want to read that one day. I work for the NHS and I do want to read this one day. Will now be the day. Part 1, Each Breath You Take, 1949 to 51. 1. London. Right, I'll read a little bit more than that first line. London. Big black old place, falling down, hardly any colour apart from a woman's red hat going into the chemist with her string bag. And if you looked carefully, bottle green leather shoes on that girl, but mostly grey and beige and black and mud-coloured people with dirty hair and unwashed shirt collars. Because everything is short, soap is short, joy is short, sex is short, and no one on the street is laughing, so jokes must be short too. Oh my God, yeah, that's one. I love that. I can't believe how long I've had this on my shelves and I haven't read the first line of it. That first line is cracking. Right, okay. That's, sorry, Girlhood, but that's gone. Then I've got Hungry Heart, A Story of Food and Love by Claire Finney. My cousin Laura bought me this for my birthday. So this is a memoir, I believe. She'll skip the prologue. And I believe it's about different, this has all got Lauren catnip all over it, because it's a memoir told with food interspersed with recipes. So here we go. Dad, and also, I just love stuff like this where they like talk about memories. It reminds me of like Big Bones, the book by Laura Dockerer, which I love. 1. Dad's microwave scrambled eggs, divorced dinners and single dads. I have very recollection of dinners prior to my parents' divorce, which is odd because I was 6 at the time, and as divorces go, theirs was not traumatic. That's a great first line, but I still think that that setting of London in 1949 and talking about how things are short and yeah, still winning. Right, this one is definitely not going to win because it's called Autumn Chills, so I will be reading it in autumn, but just so we can do it. So it's lots of short stories from Agatha Christie. The first one is Murder in the Mews. Penny for the guy, sir. A small boy with a grimy face grinned ingratiatingly. It's a great first line, but it is not winning. We've got 2 left. We've got Sarah Schmidt's Blue Hour, which came out in July 2022. This is a proof. Not read anything by Sarah Schmidt. I've got another one by her somewhere. See what I've done. Not read anything. Eleanor, present, 1973. Stand. We're going to go more than that. Stand, walk, and she does. Move down the hall to their bedroom, and when she's by his side, Eleanor leans into her husband's mouth, waits for warm breath on lips. Yeah, that's not doing all that much for me. And then the last one is American Fever by Jur A. Aziz Amna. I think I've had this on my TBR before and didn't get round to it. January. By God, I'd planned to keep it to myself and God. I like the fact that it's set in January. By God, I plan to keep it to myself and God. Yeah, I just loved this. This just really, really spoke to me. Right, okay, so this is the winner, The Dark Circle by Linda Grant. Let me know which of these would have won for you. But as a celebratory, we will now read the first 3 lines of The Dark Circle by Linda Grant, not including the word London at the beginning. London. Big black old place, falling down, hardly any colour apart from a woman's red hat going into the chemist with her string bag. And if you looked carefully, bottle green leather shoes on that girl, but mostly grey and beige and black and mud-coloured people with dirty hair and unwashed shirt collars. Because everything is short. Soap is short, joy is short, sex is short, and no one on the street is laughing, so jokes must be short too. 4 years after the war, and still everything is up shit creek. Top deck of the number 19 bus with some coming in and out and the passengers' coats steaming with earlier rain. Yeah, God, that's the sort of thing where I feel like I could sit and read that onwards, but hey, we've got the Women's Prize for Fiction long list to read, so I can't for now. But that's going on the TBR and then I'll do the yellow books once I've read this. So there we go. Great. Yeah, let me know which of these first lines you liked. Let me know if you're enjoying me going through my books and the first lines, and I'll see you all again soon for another BookTube video. Goodbye!